Okay, so we're diving into the future, right? Like, how are we all going to be working, in this digital world by 2025?
Big question, right?
Huge, yeah.
Um,
But we've got some pretty interesting insights to work with here from Virtual Cable. They've put together this like focused look at what they think are the biggest trends for businesses,
hmm
especially those really going all in on digital operations.
Yeah, they're not just talking about the latest gadgets or software, are they? It's more about the whole underlying structure that makes everything work.
Exactly. It's kind of like, yeah, the gadgets are cool, but what's the engine that's driving them?
Yeah.
And they're really stressing how important things like, being able to adapt quickly and
Yeah.
using cutting edge tech and, of course, making sure everything is super secure are going to be.
Makes sense. I mean, the landscape is shifting so quickly, you got to have the right foundation to stay ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. So for this deep dive, what we're aiming to do is like really pull out the most critical information from what Virtual Cables put together, the stuff that'll help, you listening to this really grasp those big shifts that are coming down the line.
Yeah, like what are the key things that people really need to pay attention to prepare for this digital future?
Exactly. So let's jump right in. The first one is, you hear it everywhere, hybrid environments. But what Virtual Cable is talking about seems to be like more specific than just, are you working from home or in the office?
Right, it's deeper than that, isn't it?
It is. They're really focused on how multi-cloud and on-premise infrastructure are like blending together. So why do you think this specific mix is like getting so much attention right now?
Well, I think a big part of it is the advantage it gives you, both in how well things run and also in just keeping everything up and running, reliability.
Right.
Like, imagine this. Your most important apps, they're running on your own secure servers, right? But then when you need extra power, maybe you've got a sudden spike in activity you can instantly tap into, like a huge network of cloud providers.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, virtual cable actually uses this term, automatic overflow. And it's that ability to seamlessly shift things around that's so key. It keeps everything running smoothly and, most importantly, prevents those dreaded downtimes.
Okay, so it's like having this like turbo boost you can hit whenever you need it, but it's all automatic.
Yeah, exactly. And that means you can handle those unpredictable workloads, the ones that pop up out of nowhere, much better.
That makes a ton of sense. And they also talk about, saving money and using your resources more efficiently. How does this hybrid setup help with that?
Okay, think of it like this. You're not stuck paying for the max amount of computing power all the time. Your on-premise stuff handles your regular needs, right? Your baseline. And then only when you really need it, you scale up into the cloud. It's like, instead of having a huge power generator running all the time, you just flip on a few extra lights when you need them.
I get it. So it's all about being smart about how you use your resources and adapting to what you need at that moment.
Exactly. It's dynamic, right? And that translates into direct savings for your IT budget.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Now let's shift gears a bit to something that is always a concern for businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Security and making sure you're following all the regulations.
Right. Can't forget about that.
Definitely not. Virtual cable really emphasizes this, how it's becoming even more central to everything,
Mm-hmm.
especially with, these new frameworks like DORA and NIS2.
Oh, yeah, those are big ones.
They are. So how do you see these regulations like really impacting how businesses are thinking about their digital workplace strategy?
Well, I think if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, it's all about trust and building this resilience in our digital world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. DORA is all about making sure the financial sector can keep operating even when things go wrong. And NIS2, that's broadening the scope of cybersecurity across all sorts of essential services.
So it's becoming less about just, checking boxes to say you're compliant.
Yeah, it's much more about baking security into the very core of your digital infrastructure. It's like not just building a house, but making sure it has a solid foundation that can withstand anything.
I like that analogy. So it's really about, showing your clients and partners that you take this seriously, that you're a reliable and responsible partner.
Absolutely, because in today's world, if you have a data breach or you're not following the rules, it can really damage your reputation.
Not to mention, the financial hit you could take.
Exactly. But if you can demonstrate that you're adhering to these really high standards for security and compliance, it sends a powerful message.
It says you can be trusted. Okay, let's talk about something that I think is super exciting, and that's artificial intelligence and all these intelligence systems that are coming out.
Yeah, AI is really changing the game.
It is. And virtual cable sees it as like a huge driver in, how the digital workplace is evolving, especially when it comes to virtualization. So how do you see AI actually changing, the practical day-to-day of how businesses operate?
It's fascinating to think about, because AI is becoming so much more than just simple automation.
Right.
It's becoming this like truly intelligent layer that's integrated into everything.
Mm.
Virtual Cable highlights how AI can optimize workflows, automate even really complex tasks, and even, personalize the experience for each user. It's not just answering simple questions anymore.
It's like it's actually learning, right, and becoming smarter.
Exactly. Like imagine AI that can actually spot IT problems before they even affect anyone and then fix them.
Yeah.
Or setting up virtual desktops automatically based on how each person works best.
That would be amazing.
Right. And it's all about making things run smoother and making people happier with their tech.
Definitely. Virtual cable uses the phrase unprecedented performance and talks about how this allows businesses to be more agile. Can you give us a concrete example of what that looks like in action?
Sure. Let's say you have a bunch of people using a specific application on their virtual desktops, right? And suddenly it starts lagging for everyone. Well, an AI could jump in, analyze what's happening, and automatically adjust the server resources to fix it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, or it could even pinpoint a bug in the software and alert your IT team instantly, all without anyone having to lift a finger. That's the kind of proactive optimization that makes things run like a well-oiled machine.
It's almost like having this like super smart assistant working behind the scenes, constantly making sure everything is running at its best.
Exactly. And that's what allows businesses to adapt quickly to changes, which is crucial in today's fast-paced world.
Okay, so now let's talk about having control over your tech, which is where this idea of flexible solutions and vendor independence comes in.
Right. Being able to choose what works best for you.
It's exactly. Virtual cable is really strong on this point. Like, don't get locked into relying on just one provider. Why is that freedom so crucial for, a solid long-term digital strategy?
The core idea is to make sure your tech investments don't become obsolete, that they can stand the test of time.
Future-proofing.
Yeah, exactly. By going with open solutions that can work with lots of different systems, companies can easily adopt new innovations as they come along.
Makes sense.
They're not stuck with whatever one company decides to do or how much they decide to charge.
So it's about having the power to evolve your setup as you need to. Virtual cable also points out that this can actually save you money and make your digital environment more sustainable. How does that work?
Well, when you're not tied to one vendor, you have more bargaining power, right?
Yeah,
You can negotiate better prices for software and support.
right.
Plus, you can customize things and integrate different technologies, which means you can often get more life out of your existing infrastructure.
Yeah.
You don't always have to do these huge, disruptive, and expensive upgrades.
You can upgrade gradually as needed.
Exactly. And that makes a big difference to your bottom line, and, it's more environmentally friendly, too.
Definitely. All right, let's move on to support, specifically managed services. Virtual cable points out that this is becoming more and more in demand,
Yeah.
especially for companies that don't have like a huge internal IT department. What role do you see these managed service providers or MSPs playing in the future of the digital workplace?
They're becoming really essential, almost like they're making these sophisticated digital workplace technologies accessible to everyone.
Leveling the playing field.
Exactly. Virtual Cable specifically mentions DIAS, desktop, as a service. It's a way for businesses of any size to use virtual desktops without having to shell out a ton of money up front or deal with all the technical complexities of managing it all themselves. It's like having a specialized IT team that just focuses on your digital workspace, but they're external.
So it takes a lot of the pressure off, right?
Yeah.
Those companies focus on what they do best.
Exactly. The MSPs bring the expertise and the infrastructure, so businesses can focus on their core operations while still getting all the benefits of a really advanced digital workplace.
Fantastic. All right, last but not least, Virtual Cable lays out their own vision, which they call the smart digital workplace. It seems to bring together all the things we've been talking about. So
Yeah.
what would you say are the defining characteristics of their approach?
Well, it seems like a really holistic strategy, one that puts a big emphasis on adaptability and security.
Those are definitely recurring themes.
Right. They highlight their UDS enterprise solution family, and it sounds like it's highly customizable and built to change as a company's needs change. And they really stress their 24/7 local support, which shows they're serious about making sure businesses can keep running smoothly.
Yeah, that peace of mind is huge.
It is. And they talk about incorporating intelligent systems and offering different ways to do hybrid deployment, all aimed at maximizing ROI and boosting security.
So it's not just about having fancy tech, it's about making sure it works for you in a smart way.
Right, exactly. It's about creating a digital environment that's tailored to your specific goals.
So let's bring it all home. We've looked at these 5 key trends that virtual cable sees as shaping the digital workplace in 2025. Hybrid environments, the importance of security and compliance, the power of AI, the need for flexible solutions, and the rise of managed services.
Right.
And these all come together in this idea of the smart digital workplace.
Yeah, which is really about creating this flexible, secure, and personalized way of working, not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. So now, thinking about you listening to this, which of these trends really resonates with you? What are the challenges you're facing or the opportunities you see on the horizon?
Because that's what it's all about, right? Connecting these trends to your own reality.
Absolutely. Because we're on the cusp of some pretty big changes. And the question is, how can you use these trends to your advantage? Maybe even discover possibilities you hadn't even thought of before. It's definitely something to ponder as this digital world keeps evolving at such a rapid pace. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.